You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
Hey everybody, and welcome to the show. My name's Dave, and this is a Fistful of Podcast from Fistful of Podcast. No, god damn it!
Wow.
It's not every fucking time. Sorry, hold on. That's not the website. It's FOPradio.com. Blah back for another great week. Yada yada yada. Let's get past all that. The screw up was not didn't happen. Let's get right to my co-host for this episode. I teased him in the last episode right there at the end. I bet you got excited. I'm excited to have him back. Please welcome with me Eric Daniels of Sloth Fist back. What's up, Eric? Woo! What's happening, man?
Oh, chilling. Just enjoying life. How about yourself, man?
So very well on this end. Speaking of on this end, we've got Chris over there on the couch as well.
I am on the couch.
So, Eric, let's dig right into first things first. Big events. The concert.
The concert. We've got a shitload of them on the books right now.
No, I mean the one that was just, as of this recording, the one you guys just played at Killers.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So was that, now let's crack into that a little bit. Was that your first concert back after the quarantine, or am I remembering that incorrectly?
No, that's the second one back.
Oh, okay. Where was the first one?
At a place called Gas Monkey Bar and Grill in Dallas.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. I'm an idiot. I forgot that. But there wasn't as many pictures on Facebook as this one. So
That's true.
Somebody, you need a photographer.
We do need a photographer badly. We're really shit about getting like promo stuff done. I'm bad at multi what do you call it? Social medias.
Yeah,
not my thing.
If I weren't a short 15-hour drive away, I'd be there for you. But holy shit, Texas, not only, because I don't know why. I don't know why I thought Texas and Arizona touched, but it turns out they don't.
No, not
At
even
least-
a little bit.
Yeah.
No.
And I was like, because I looked it up, I was like, oh, what if I got a wild hair at my ass and decided to go see a Sloth Fist show? Could I conceivably do it? And I decided no.
Oh, you can. You got a co-pilot. Just trade off at the wheel. You know, one of you catches a cat nap while the other drives.
Well, then it's like, hot damn, I would rather, like, if it's going to be a 15-hour drive versus possibly a TSA finger up my ass, I will take the possibility. You know what I mean?
Hey, there you
Holy
go.
crap.
Come on down. I'll scoop you up from the airport.
So, first of all, or not, maybe not first of all, but now this is second of all, is it a ritual of yours? I'm a little unfamiliar of this, possibly because I've not been experiencing many live shows, but is it a ritual of yours to wear tiny shorts?
That is a post-quarantine thing that I've
So
started doing.
That's a new revolution, sort of.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't know much about Texas, it's hot as fucking balls here.
True. Arizona's the same.
So the breathability of the dolphin shorts, really a big asset when you're trying to, rock and roll.
That's what I really heavily suspected. I thought, you know what? This seems like it is built for speed, not for comfort necessarily. But, it turns out it's for both, because you can move around the stage in those little babies, and they give the free air up to the
important bits.
The important bits of the puzzle.
But also, if you had legs as nice as mine, you'd want to flaunt them too.
Oh no, yeah, that's the other half of this coin. Is not only are they form, but they are, or not only function, but they do serve a form. Those delicious gams. Don't get me wrong, my legs are like chicken bones picked clean, or chicken legs picked clean.
I thought so. I just looked at you and I assumed you had scrawny legs.
Yeah, it's an unassailable fact, and I've had it my entire life, and I've constantly, like, if you've got hams for thighs, like, you're my hero. And because that'll never be me, man. I'll never have a carriage that will call for big legs, apparently.
It's a trade-off. I don't have hair on the top of my head, and, I get thick legs.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, and that's the you always want the thing you don't have. Like, I hate my hair. I would gladly trade all of my hair for some thick-ass thighs.
Any day. Wait, Let's get Lucifer on the phone. Let's draw up the contract and make it happen.
Yeah, then what do you? But then what does the devil get out of that bargain? Like an eighth of each of our souls?
Maybe the satisfaction of knowing that we'd inevitably both regret the choice.
Well, then we just need to find a monkey's paw, right? We don't need to bother the devil.
Well, I mean, the devil's easier to find.
Is he? Like, there's tons of street vendors in Morocco that are probably shilling monkey paws by the dozens.
Yeah, but they're like placebo monkey paws. Like, if you want a true, honest-to-God monkey paw, you gotta, like, travel into the middle of the fucking desert and, fight off giant scorpions and shit.
What you gotta do is find the guy who's only selling one monkey paw, and if you pick it up and make a wish and nothing happens, you go, and you put it down. Then you ask the dude, and you say, is this the floor model? And he goes, yeah, because he wouldn't keep the real one on the table. What if some jackass walks by, grabs it, and makes a wish? Then you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly like you tried to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why you put the dummy one out there. You don't want to try and sell a monkey's paw where one finger's already curled in. And then you go, what the fuck, dude?
Well, you can't. Once you do one, it's stuck to you. You cannot get rid of it.
Well, the short story, I guess, kind of. Have you? I assume you read the short story.
I've read a few short stories involving a monkey's paw.
Well, I mean the original one, because I've read the original one because after I saw the Simpsons one, obviously, because everybody's touchstone.
Yeah, that's how I got
literature.
hip to it in the first
Right.
place.
That's everybody's touchstone to literature. Like, that's how I decided to read The Raven. But anyway, like the monkey's paw I read, I was like, oh, but that's it. I don't know if it is implicitly in the story that it sticks to you. It's just you want to keep trying to fix your fuck up. And so it sticks to you because you keep trying.
But you can't. It's futility. The
does
monkey's
that feel?
paw is gonna monkey paw, and you can't stop it.
The monkey's paw has got a monkey's paw?
The monkey's paw is gonna monkey's paw.
Oh God, yeah. Well, yeah, but it doesn't. My point of view is I don't think the monkey's paw cares. I think it will grant any wish. Because what if hypothetically? I don't know why we're talking about monkey's paws now, but I'm interested in this. If you let's say you get a honest to God monkey's paw and you curl one of the fingers with a wish that goes bad, right? And then your neighbor comes over and grabs it and is like, "What's this?" and inadvertently makes a wish. Is that one granted?
I don't think so. I think it's stuck to you until you complete your 3.
I need to find a scientist. Because then then it's essentially just the genie, right? Because a genie can't break away from a master until the 3 wishes.
I think it's a very similar philosophy, except in my understanding, a genie will try to honor the spirit of your wish, where the monkey's paw is actively trying to fuck you.
Well, it depends, too, because we talk about genies versus jinns. Are jinns the evil ones, then?
I think that's like a dialect thing. It's like soda versus pop.
See, that's the thing. In every story, the genie is always sort of dickish, which is kind of like the monkey's paw. So I think it's easier to personify a genie because they can go hey, I'm stuck to you. A monkey's paw can't say shit. It just has to show up mysteriously in a desk drawer and you go, every once in a while.
If Disney's taught me anything, because Disney is always 100% completely historically accurate.
Always.
Genie was a real nice guy. I mean, he was a little, he was a smart ass, but, he wanted, he was looking out for his boy.
You're probably...
Even though his boy fucked him in the end. And he's like, I'm going to free you. Nope.
But didn't he?
I think they
he
did
totally
some legalese, but he had 3 wishes, and as he was thinking of the second one, he's like, with the third one, I got you, I'm gonna free you. Don't worry about it.
But he totally does.
And then some shit happened, and he's like, oh, by the way, fuck you, Genie, I want this.
Wait a minute. We're talking about the Disney Aladdin, right?
Yeah.
He frees Robin Williams at the end, like his golden manacles.
Yes, because because his first wish, if you recall, was he didn't actually wish for it. So they were able to not drown.
He was
drowning,
okay.
And then Genie picked up his mouth and was like, "I wish to not drown."
Right? Yeah, to get out of the thing.
And counted that as his first wish. So
right.
Then they backtracked that so that he could have his third wish to free Genie. But in his mind at the time when he used that third wish, he thought it was his third wish. And he knew that he wasn't going to... So on his end, he was being a dick. Genie just found a way to help himself out.
So I'm not as in the know, like, timeline wise as you are, apparently, because, like, I don't recall if they must have discussed it. Like, he must have said, like, I granted your wish to get out of there, right? Because, like, it's been like 30 years since I've seen that movie.
It's been a hot minute for me too, and I might be talking completely out of my ass. And
that's
if I
what
am,
I kind of feel like,
feel
but
free
I
to
don't wanna
talk
call
shit to Dervis. Don't say anything to me. I don't care.
To Dervis. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Well, whatever. I think that left, right, center, or whatever. Here's the real rub. I think we're all forgetting this. Is no matter what, no matter the wish, if Aladdin is a dick or not, Genie, boom, free. In the second movie, Return of Jafar, he is remanacled. What did he fucking do? When he shows back up, he's supposed to be without the gold armbands because they were keeping him as a genie and giving him the puffy thing instead of the legs. And he comes back and he got him again? Or are they just novelties?
Well, here's the thing. Disney did not think that movie was going to warrant a second movie.
It didn't.
So they wrote it with a nice happy ending, and then they're like, "Oh, this was actually super popular, and we could make a bunch more money off of this." So
which is crazy.
Let's just pretend that the last 20 minutes of that movie didn't happen.
How do you, as Disney, be like, oh yeah, we'll make something and we'll see what happens? Like, by Aladdin, they were a fucking money-making machine. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we'll see. Like, this wasn't the Apple Dumpling Gang. This wasn't like the original Pete's Dragon or the new Pete's Dragon. This was the sweet spot before they were remaking old scary shit or making the scary shit first.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, they just don't care. They don't care about continuity. Like, they don't give a shit about any of that. And that's, like... That they ruined Star Wars, basically.
Star Wars keeps coming up. So yeah, you're right. I just had this conversation literally chronologically in real time 2 nights ago. But that's the thing. My buddy who is into Star Wars is of the idea that it's getting better because we have a single creative voice essentially guiding the ship. So you say nay to that?
Well, here's the thing. It depends on which of the properties you're looking at, because Star Wars is a lot of things these days.
Yeah, and that's my problem. Is like when you have something like that, what do you do with it? I say, here's what I do. It's like when you go to the zoo, you don't get into every cage with every animal and shake hands and get, nice to meet you. You just sort of wander through, look at all the weird shit, and then you go back to the car and you go home. And that's how I treat Star Wars.
See, with Star Wars, like the numbered films, I think they kind of fucked those up. The last 3 of the trilogy.
Totally. Yeah, obviously, for sure.
But however, The Mandalorian is the best Star Wars thing that's happened since Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. It's like the best thing since Luke met Skywalker.
Like, it really is. And, like, I take the good with the bad, and I realize, like, for the numbered entries and even some of the, like, side flicks, I'm not the target audience anymore.
Right.
I've aged out of that. They're after newer, hipper, younger people. And, I saw the other ones when I was young. So, like, they grew on me then. And if I saw Star Wars today, I'd probably think it was bullshit. I would be like, what the fuck is all of this?
Well, it has to hit you at the right age because it is a space fantasy. And if you're not a kid and can buy into that fantasy, or at least have a childlike side to you and can't buy into that fantasy anymore, it's a barrier too high for anyone.
Yeah, it really is.
It has to slip in while the slipping is good. It's like the same thing for Ninja Turtles, same thing for, let's say, Transformers or Ghostbusters. If they hit you at the right time and they slipped in, bam. If you didn't find it at the right moment for you, it's like complete shutout.
Now, we'll argue against Ghostbusters being included on that list. I think the one Ghostbusters movie that exists, you cannot convince me that there was any other Ghostbusters movies ever made.
Okay.
The one Ghostbusters movie, with Bill Murray.
Okay.
Is fantastic and will stand alone. And I think you can watch that movie 20 years from now even. And it's just a good movie.
Right, because Vigo is so great, right?
They were all great. That cast was great. The plot line was concise enough and self-contained enough that, like, it can exist beyond universe, a canon, if you will.
Right, because
and it's just good. It's funny.
Right,
it's lighthearted. It doesn't take itself seriously, and it's just a good movie.
It's not a movie that hangs itself on gimmicks. It's a movie that lives in a world with real characters. Like, I don't know if maybe you have seen or not seen the Ghostbusters film that you can't mention, but that is a film that hangs on gimmicks, not characters. Like Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, they were all living in that world. Everybody else in the movie that may not refuse to be named, the latter day one, it's just like a structure with ghosts and jokes, and there's no. Yeah. It's like, who gives a shit, right?
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on why those movies don't exist.
Right, and that's what happens though. Is like what happens is we move away from sincerity and like genuine characters living in a genuine world, and we go like, oh, The Simpsons did a thing where they put as many jokes in as possible in a small amount of time. We could do that. And so you get four or five, get a huge ensemble cast, whatever the movie may be that you're remaking, and you say, oh, go riff. That's not what you're going to see Ghostbusters necessarily for, right? It's a finely crafted experience.
Yeah, and it's that's the other thing with that movie. It was made to be its own thing. It was not made with the prospect of a sequel,
right,
or a remake or any of that stuff that definitely never happened. It was made as a standalone idea. Here it is. This is what it is, and this is all it is. And then, of course, someone saw the dollar signs, was like, well, we can totally milk this cow, so let's milk her dry.
Right, but and that's the thing. You inherently, I don't care who you are, you inherently know in your gut, whether you admit it to me or not, like when something is genuinely, like when art stands on its own two legs and when you see that it's being held up by a crutch of money. Because when, even if you want to lie to me, I've got people in my life who will say, I love this movie, and they genuinely will, and they'll tell you every detail. And I say, what about this movie? And they go, it was great. And I go, what did you like about it? And they're like, it was good. So you didn't just tell me the truth, for fuck's sake. Like, it was that's the thing. If someone made something that will stand, you talk about it. If you don't want to hurt its feelings, you go, it was good, through clenched teeth.
Well, I don't have problems hurting people's feelings, so.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know why people try and spare my feelings. Like, people get hurt by me all the time, and no one wants to pay it back, apparently.
No, see, I'm not shy about that. If someone's shit stinks, I'm more than happy to let them know about it.
Right, and that's why I like you, and that's why you're on the show. Fucking genuine attitude. But that's what I want to tie it back into too is like you and your music and Sloth Fist, because like you and Mark and everybody involved are like in it for it, and that's why it has legs. That's why I listen to it all the time. Oh, now that I have you, and this is also be cross promotion from my other show, but I'm in another show where we review movies and it's a video, and I'm going to show you the link once it pops, but I'm wearing a Sloth Fist t-shirt, my new pink one that I finally...
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I love it. I finally got a chance to wear it on camera, and I was like, all right, because I was like, when do I break this baby out, right? Well, I got to do it someplace where I can get as much of an audience as I can. So I'm wearing it throughout that whole show.
Did you have it in a glass case with a little hammer next to it, just ready to bust it out?
But my problem was I made it lucite instead of glass, so I spent a lot of time hammering that motherfucker.
So he's just like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, I threw down the small hammer, and I came back with a 12-pound sledge, and then we were on the road.
There you go.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, your stuff to me, and like all the stuff that on this show gets highlighted, will always be that. If you ever find yourself hailing to the almighty dollar, just know your invitation to the show is revoked.
No. I work a day job and kiss ass there to make my dollars. This is what I do to escape from that grim reality.
Right, but that's what's crazy to me, and like people will, like the people in my life say like movies, or they say they like video games, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, because everybody has their, like obviously for you it would be music, like it is in your blood. And I come into contact with these people who are passionate about movies, music, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it makes me want to burn like that toward this subject. And I see my bass sitting over there in the corner of the room and I want to go like, oh yeah. But then I have to like check myself back into reality. I can't like chase everybody I admire all the time.
When was the last time you played your bass?
It's been weeks.
Oh, pick it up. Even for a second, even like when you go to take a shit, just take it with you and just walk a scale while you're taking a shit. That'll do two things for you.
Yeah.
First off, you'll be getting better at your craft there. And B, you will learn to shit in rhythm. And you know that it'll just streamline the whole process.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I keep especially when all those photos hit from the Killer show. I was like, oh man, I want to get back into that. But I have to, I've said to myself right now, not, but maybe later. I'm still working on everything slowly right now. But I can't, I also cannot watch every movie that everybody wants me to watch and yada, yada, yada. So I'm just sort of stuck here in the middle, seeing what pulls hardest in the moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's guys like you, man, who make me want to go like, yeah, me too, and stand up and like join. And then I got to go, oh yeah, I got a J job I got to get back to too, and all this other shit. I got to do this show too.
So you've been spreading yourself too thin. You got bring it in, man. Bring it in. Find your gym.
Let me tell you something. There is almost no way to spread yourself too thin until you're dead. Because I work with people who do that all the time. And I myself say, oh, you know, my schedule is full, but somehow pack an extra 8 hours of shit that I didn't think I had room for in every day or whatever.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
It's amazing how we can do that. We can tell somebody, oh, you know, I don't have any time. And then you go home and blow 5 hours on something you just didn't have the time for.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of my favorite things, you know. Like, my wife will say, oh, there's not enough time in the day. I'm like, you don't need sleep.
Yeah, but the things you love always sneak in there. They'll always get you.
You at least pray that they do. They're like, there was a time in my life when I didn't make time for those things, and that was like a shit time in my life. So.
Right, but even then, even if you give it up for, like, let's say I'm going cold turkey on this forever. It never is forever. You come back to something in some form or fashion. Like unless it's like a drug, then I'm saying leave that. Like if you're on meth, knock that off. Like weed's probably okay, but all the destructive stuff.
That's good because I'm sitting here smoking my peace pipe right here as we're talking.
No, yeah, you got that. That's totally fine. I'm not like because you're not gonna run out into a public space and eat someone's flesh or like rob someone to get your next fix. Like
I might, but it won't be related to drugs.
Well, yeah, that'll be in like a music enthused hysteria.
That'll just be for shiggles.
What a way to spend an afternoon cannibalizing somebody.
Hey, you know, life's short. Even shorter for the dude you just ate, but you know, it's fine.
Keep Texas weird, right? Is that a saying?
It's Austin.
Austin. Well, you know, let's go for the whole state. Why not? Why be so narrow-minded?
Well, here's the thing about Texas. Texas has like 3 big cities and then a bunch of fuck all in between. And the problem is the fuck all in between isn't weird at all. Well, they are weird to me, but you know, to the status quo of life, I guess.
I feel like, correct me if you find this wrong, but everybody I talk to says, yeah, in my state, there are this city, this city, this city, and then nothing. Every state says that. Like, I can't believe that, but I can, because when you look at every state, you'll see 3 big dots. And one will be the star, which will be the capital. And that's it. That's where everybody lives.
And there is fuck all in between. Like, you'll recall, I was a truck driver. I've seen some shit. And, like, once you're not on one of those big dots on the map, you're nowhere. Except for the instance of going where people aren't. And that's something I'm real fond of. Like, nature, I love nature.
Right.
And that's cool, but the whole point of that is to get away from people at large. So it's not the people you're concerned with. It's, you know, the not people.
Yeah, you're looking for like a disconnection. But so it's like when you're, let's say for you specifically, like when you were in the truck in the middle of nowhere, like just fields open and like just spreading for miles around, far as the eye can see. Like, what does that conjure in you?
Boredom.
Is that it? You see all these rolling hills, like this vast plain, all this land, and you go, so bored.
You know how many stalks of corn I've seen in my life?
Oh, yeah.
You know how interesting your billionth stalk of corn is? Hint, it's not.
As interesting as the first.
Because the first one was so enthralling.
Right. Yeah, if that one's peaking at 100, I can only imagine what the billionth one has fallen to.
It's just boredom. It's the same thing, or seeing just endless expanses of trees with a road cut in between it. Seen a lot of that too. And that's what a lot of driving in this country is.
Yeah, and so let me ask you, do you, because I like driving, so I might be barking up the wrong tree. If you do not like driving, you will not prefer either. But if you do like driving, do you prefer the open plains or driving through the forest?
If I had to take one, probably the forest, just because it's easier to get out and go pee if you have to.
Okay.
That's not a bad answer.
Yeah, I kind of thought you were going to lean toward forest. That was not the answer or the reason behind the answer I was expecting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very pragmatic.
No, yeah, I get it. Like, I would also choose the forest, but for much more experiential reasons. Like, at least in Arizona, I've not been in many forests in any other states. But here,
You have
it's
forests
like
in Arizona?
If you can believe it, you got to travel at least 2 hours, but we got them.
I've only been to Phoenix and Scottsdale, so
yeah, that's two of our three dots.
yeah, and I don't believe I saw a single tree that was remotely close to another tree.
Yeah, no, in the valley you will not see shit. Like up north and beyond, we've got shit up there. So, like, to me, that's where I go to escape heat, and so that's where I feel. I don't know, like, and maybe it's me, but I feel like being out in the middle of nowhere, like, essentially in the field scenario, that sort of plays on your mind, or at least would to me. Like, you just feel like what's out there, and if there's nothing out there, you're like, oh, I'm the only thing for miles except for an occasional car. But like when you're traveling down a channel of trees, you're like, oh, everything's fine. I'm just traveling down a little. You feel like a marble going down a thing, and it's a lot less stress-inducing, maybe.
No, I can kind of see that. And let me tell you also a hidden bonus of driving through all the trees. You're less likely to have a shitload of billboards. Oh,
yeah. But then what do you read?
Well, usually I would just put on like a podcast or something and just, I'd hit my cruise control and just go.
Yeah, I'm bummed that I'm not gonna. Even if I started today, I was like, hey, I'm gonna get my CDL, and I became a truck driver. I'd probably get maybe 5 years before I was replaced by a robot. Yeah. So I'm gonna just take a pass, and I'm just gonna enjoy driving my own car.
As long as they let you.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. I might be okay with a self-driving car as long as I still get to sit in the front seat.
Well, if I'm not driving it, why? Like, give me the back seat, and then you'd see that switch where the back seats are like a couch, and they probably wouldn't have front seats. They probably just make it like a ring kind of design. I feel
like a Jetson car.
Well, the back of a limo, basically.
Yeah.
Where you got like seats on the side, and like in the center, you'd have like a little table. Maybe, and you can play Yahtzee while you're going down the road.
Here's my only issue, man, is like motion sickness is a thing. And for me, if I sit in the back seat without a point of reference out a windshield to see that I am moving, like if I have a stationary object like a headrest or anything, like a person in front of me, like if we were sitting across from each other in a limo style, you'd probably have my puke in your lap.
Well, then you would sit in the back.
I need to be up front. You know what I mean? I need to be like toward the conductor area so I can look out and be the nose of the thing. If I'm the ass, I get sick.
Well, what if you could like blind all the windows so you couldn't see out at all?
Well, it's the confusion of my body feeling the gravitational pull and the momentum of the vehicle without having a point of reference to know I'm moving.
So like you don't do airplanes well then.
Airplanes are okay because I usually drug myself with. Well, I used to drug myself when I had like prescriptions from a doctor. I wouldn't like score drugs on the street and be like, time for a flight and inject. I would take like an anxiety or whatever.
So let me
Don't
give
need them
a
anymore.
free life pro tip to your entire audience.
Sure.
If you're flying and you're nervous, or if you just want to score, just look for people in business suits and tell them you're nervous. They might have a pill they can slip you. That's worked for me no less than 5 times.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible. So I'm wondering.
Here you are, stranger. Here's a Valium.
Well, yeah. So now I'm wondering because if I were an uptight business dude or lady, and I had like a pocket full for myself, and I was like, don't take this the wrong way. You can be a very imposing figure. So imagine if you and let's throw in the tiny shorts just for kicks. Let's say you're there with your tiny shorts rolling up on a dude in an airport who's in a nice business suit, and you're like, "Oh, I'm nervous." He'll be like, "Here, please help yourself."
Here's my pocket of pills.
And then he'll take like 3 as soon as you walk away.
So what you're saying is I'm basically robbing these people.
No. What I'm saying like is you would be. I think half of it is the kindness of strangers, and half of it is like your presence gives. I've not been in your presence. I've just seen you on either video or picture, and we've spoken. But I feel like if you came up to me, I could feel a vibe from you that would be like, "Hey, man, I need some help here." Not necessarily like looking to score.
Yeah.
Because if someone came up looking to score, I'd be like, "Fuck off!" Like. But if I feel like you would come across as genuine, and that's why these people are like, "Oh yeah, here you go, buddy," and then they see the shorts and they go, "Ah, yeah, this guy knows what he's all about."
See, I thought you were talking about more like what was that movie? It was like, "You gonna eat that cornbread?" Like that kind of situation.
No. Like, I'm just saying. I'm not saying you would come across. Maybe I did imply that.
Because I'm a big dude. Like I am really like I'm 6'3". I'm 260 pounds. Like I am just
right. That's what I'm saying. You would be an imposing figure, but I feel like your energy would come across less of like, "Hey man, give me your lunch money," and more like, "Hey, can you help a brother out?"
Well, that's good that you think that I exude a wholesome aura.
I mean, I can't. Full disclosure.
Yeah.
I can only read as much as I can observe. And I've only been able to observe via video and audio. If I get into your physical space and I go, "Whoa," that'll be a whole different thing. So, but I don't think that'll happen.
No, that's good. Most people who have taken the time to talk to me think that I am a teddy bear. People who don't know me, however, who haven't like interacted with me in any meaningful way, they tell me like after, like, "You're intimidating as shit." And
here's the thing. I get that all the time too, or at least I used to. No one wants to talk to me anymore. But I used to get that a lot where, like, especially from like junior high onward, where I developed my own ego. It was always like, I was very, like you're saying, like I'm very off-putting, probably just because I am honest. And people don't like honesty, right?
No, most of them aren't big fans of it.
And not for nothing. Like, do what you want. Lie to each other and tell yourselves you're not fat, and tell your friends they're not fat, or whatever the lie may be. But I am looking to be as good as I can. So if I come to you saying, "Hey, where do you think I can improve?" Because I'm looking for weaknesses or testing my fences. Don't feed me a spoonful after spoonful of bullshit being like, "Oh, you're fine the way you are," because I know you're a fucking liar.
Yeah, stop being so fat, man.
Yeah, and then when I call you a liar, don't get mad about it. Yeah, with the fat thing, that I can go on a tangent about that. But that's the thing. We all just tell each other, we say, "Hey, how do I look?" or "How do you think?" or blah, blah, blah. Whenever we ask somebody's opinion, the opinion is always positive.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. I've been begging for someone to roast me. I've been begging for someone to like point at my character and find flaw and be like, "Aha, awful." So I can be like, "Aha, now I can find that and rub it out."
Okay, so
But-
here's what's gonna happen. The next time I come on, we're gonna have a roast battle,
Oh yeah,
and
that would be fun.
it's on.
I'm gonna have to really dig into your shit though. So like, I'm gonna have to look into your Facebook and your some
Hey.
shit
You
I have
to
to
find out.
stalk you.
You're there, and it's not hard. You can look at me. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm fat and I'm bald.
Right, we'll probably have to compare notes.
I've
because,
got
like,
crooked teeth.
yeah, what we'll probably have to do is like, if you're like, if this is serious, and boy am I excited if you are, like, we need to compare notes and give each other vantage points so we can be like, aha, yeah, there's the weak spots, because that's what I'm looking for.
I'm gonna write a diss track. This is gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, like I love, and it's so funny to me because when you like, if you say something shitty to someone in a sarcastic way and they get upset, you go, oh, it's a joke, and you go, oh, okay, Joe, whew. Like, but no, it wasn't. Like, the thing they said was true. They just said it in a funny voice. So if you got upset, they would go like, joke, and you go, whoo.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate reality of a lot of people. They just don't want to hear any criticisms. They don't want self-improvement, because a lot of those things that are said in jest do have a lot of truth behind them.
Yes,
And like,
because
the people just shrug it off, and they shouldn't.
yeah, truth is in every piece of art, comedy, music, yada, 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 yada. Look at all of it, and you can extract what you actually feel, even though you won't admit it to even yourself, right? Like, if you, all the passive aggressive marks or all the remarks or whatever, all the music about love and breakups and the meanings of life and this, that, or the other, you can see right into somebody's soul, and all you have to do is look, because they'll tell you.
I'm sorry that I don't write love songs, though.
No, that's fine. Like, your soul is exactly what Sloth Fist is. Like, that is genuine you and Mark and everybody else in Sloth Fist. And that's the thing. If you can look into art, because everybody's okay dissecting art. Everybody can pick apart movies, music, blah, 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 blah. But the second we start to look at each other critically, we go, I don't like that. Not cool, bro.
No, so there's a big thing in the music scene where, like, you play a show and, you know, the other band plays, and like, it's just expected that you walk by, kind of like two baseball teams passing themselves.
Oh, like,
or
give the high
passing each
fives?
other, good game, but you know, like, six set, bro, or whatever it is. I have never said that to anyone where I did not believe that was a true statement. And some people think I'm an asshole because of it.
Oh, wait, so you telling me you only say it when it's appropriate, and when it's not, you don't say it.
Oh yeah, if they bomb, I don't tell them they did a good job if they sucked. Why
Okay.
would I do that?
Yeah, I get
No,
you.
I'll maybe try to find a nice thing to say. Like, I like the
better look
bass
next time.
tone, or but
Yeah,
I won't say good set. I won't say I like the songs. I won't say any of that shit.
Right,
And
because
if
why
I don't
lie?
have a nice thing to say, I just won't say anything.
Right, and that's the thing, is like, with I wish, because we all get to sit on this side of that coin, right? Like, you, I, and everybody else gets to look at everybody else's movies and music and be like, yes, no, maybe so, and pick it apart and judge it. And I may be the only person who is like in, not need, but I have the desire for somebody else to look at maybe this show or something I've done and literally destroy it, because that's where you find what all the pieces are. Like, if you're a kid and you get a radio and you take it apart, you're not doing it to make it worse. You're doing it out of curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want another asshole like me to pick my shit apart so I can be like, oh.
No, I tell you, Sloth has actually got that pretty early, because I have a few friends that will give me honest fucking feedback, which, when you're asking for it, a lot of people just won't. But like, just exactly like you're doing, I have people that I ask, like, what's up? What's up with this?
Right.
Is it good? Is it bad? If it's bad, why is it bad? Or, if it's okay, how could it be not okay? How could it be good?
Right. And it's a fine line to walk, because if you say, tell me the truth, when we ask each other, what do you think about this? What we are asking the other person is, what do you see that I don't? Right? Like if you're writing a song and playing it, or you get a demo or whatever, you let somebody hear it and you say, what is missing, essentially, right? You say, what do you think? Because you feel something is missing and you're looking for someone to pick it apart and be like, oh, it's obviously this.
Or even if I don't think anything's missing, like I might write something and think that it's like the bee's fucking knees. Like it's perfect in every way. Couldn't possibly be flawed.
Sure.
It's handed down from the gods to me directly.
Right.
And then like someone else who will give me the honest feedback is like, well, actually.
Right. But that's a pivotal point, Eric, because here's the thing. If it came out of like the depths of you, right, and you say, that's the bee's fucking knees, you hand it to someone for judgment and they go, fuck it, I don't like it. That's when their judgment doesn't matter, right? Because they're no longer a useful person. Like you're not asking them to pick your thing apart and show you where the missing piece is. They're saying, hey, the thing you love, I don't. So that's when done, right?
Well, if they don't love it, that's fine. If they can articulate why.
Right.
Like if they just straight up say, it's dog shit and walk away, then that's not useful. That's
right.
That's
but
just
I'm saying,
mean.
I'm just saying, like your like that technique and my technique are useful, but in completely different scenarios. Like if you're having trouble with something and you say, listen to this, I need an opinion, that is one thing. But if you have a finished product and you go, what do you think of this? That's a completely different feeling. You know what I mean? Because you're not like, help. You're like, what do you, like you're handing it to be like, ta-da, right? Essentially the feeling is like, look what I did. Please take a look. Because I've done that hundreds of times with every project I've ever done.
But
and so,
for me, it's the same. For me, it's like, I don't ever feel, I guess it's a different craft, between like writing a song until you like finally record it. But, I do like little demo recordings, phone recordings of our songs as we go along and, maybe show it to some other people. And I might think, because, a song that I wrote, I, of course, think it's great because I wrote it.
Right. Yeah.
But then, like bounce it off this person. That person was like, well, actually, maybe this happens too long. Maybe like you need to break something up here. Like, even though in my mind, when I recorded it that way, it was done. It's never done. And even if it's on the record, you can still like point to this and like, this could have been better. And then I can think about the next time that I record that, like what that was and how I can work around it.
But then if you're constantly reworking the past to suit what you are now, like what is the past worth? You know what I mean? If you're going to be putting out, you say, this is my art and bam, there it is. And so actually, like if it's you doing it, like let's say what's his nuts from the Tubular Bells album who re-records it every time technology changes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's his gimmick and that's his thing, and I get that. And if you want your music to be that living tapestry that like the freshest version is always the real one, what different is that from like George Lucas re-releasing Star Wars with little tweaks here and there? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's absolutely his right to do that. And it's absolutely, a fan's right to think that the old one was better.
Right. But and that's what I'm saying.
But if
there's
it's your
no
art,
right or wrong.
If it's your art, I think you're free to do whatever the hell you want to with it.
Totally.
And
I'm just saying.
And I'm not even saying going back and recording old songs. I'm just thinking when you're writing the next song, there might have been a little nugget you could gain from that to think about when you're writing the next song.
I was under the impression, because my original thesis was like, when a project is still in motion and not like stamp done, that's when you're looking for help me fix this. But like, let's say the album is like pressed and sealed and like you give it to a friend and they open up the cellophane, there's no going back. Like it's been released. All the things are sold. Like that's the time when opinions are just like, thanks. But now that it's like, cause it's easy to accept. Like when you're looking for constructive criticism, let's say you go, gimme. Mm-hmm. But then when it's done and they go, oh, damn, that help now becomes a cudgel we get to beat ourselves with, right? Because we go, oh, goddamn, I did miss that and that and that and that.
But, I listen to, Mothman is Real. That record's over a year old at this point. Even longer when you consider when we actually recorded it, because it took a long time to actually like release it. So
yeah, it's been a while.
So like I've been living with those songs for a long time, and if we recorded that record today, it would sound a lot different. Even recording those same songs, because like we're not content. Like we'll change stuff after the recording. We're not going to record the song again, even though we've recorded Yesterday twice. But
yeah, I wish that might be an interesting experiment one day for a band to do. Just like do the same album release other albums in between. But like if you're still a band at 5-year marks or 3-year marks, re-record and re-release your eponymous or first album, right?
No, don't do that.
Why not?
People hate when you do that. And like
who
that
gives
would be
a shit, right?
that would be fun for like me to have on my hard drive. But I don't know that I'd want to release that because a lot of times. So, have you heard both versions of the song Yesterday?
Yes.
Which one do you prefer?
It depends on my mood, man. Because like if I'm at work, I like to have a cleaner mix. But if I'm at home, I like the music I listen to. Like if it's punk, to be a little dirtier. So, like the one on Mothman is Real, I listen to like out in Reg's ass reality, but when I'm home and I want to just like, I'm not necessarily looking for all the technical perfection. I go for like the less technically perfect recording, if you know what I mean. I'm not that one is good or bad, but one is more raw and one is more technically proficient. They both serve two different purposes for me.
See, I hate that first recording. Yesterday. That's why that's the only song that got re-recorded, because that first thing, that was our demo. Like that wasn't even, we never printed that. Like it's online only, and that's the only place it exists.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, what if? Because oftentimes, I'm not going to say everybody, but oftentimes, a band or an artist's first album is everything that they had pent up that they've been working on. So that is all their A material. You know what I mean? But oftentimes, the money or the experience isn't there to make it what it should be. So why not, if you're still a thing in 3-5 years, re-release? I would buy it personally. I would go back if. What band do I listen to? Like if the Electric Six, let's not use you. Let's use somebody else for a change. The Electric Six re-released Fire now in 2021. When the first one came out in 2006, I would 100% buy it to see what the fuck changed, because their sound has gone bonkers from then. You know what I mean?
But sometimes also better to leave the past in the past, because there's been several bands. Like, have you ever heard that Suicidal Tendencies re-release of their first record?
No. I don't know.
It's really bad. Like, it's really bad.
I'm sure, yeah, but that's the risk you have to run, right? Because every movie is somebody's favorite movie, and every album is somebody's favorite album. So even though, let's say the public at large shits on the thing that you did, I would say, number one, I'm glad it happened because there was a reason for it. Like you were doing it for artistic integrity, in my scenario at least. But also, like, could you imagine if Metallica, because Metallica could do this and everyone would buy it, whether they hate it or not, they would still put down the money. If Metallica went back and re-recorded their first album with their instruments and their bodies and today's recording technology today, every Metallica fan would fucking buy it, because nostalgia, number one, but like to see what they did. The curiosity would kill the cat.
Kill some of them, and some of them be like, Lars Ulrich can't drum that good anymore.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, like they would obviously be a hilarious downplay, because now they're very old, and I imagine. But that's the thing. They're so technically picky. They wouldn't release it if it weren't perfect, right?
Yeah, and I don't think they would release it. They might record it, but they wouldn't release it.
I'm saying that I don't think anything, if it comes from a place of like experimentation, I don't think it should ever be turned down. If it says, if the moral of the story is we did it because the first one made money, boom, I'm out. But if for any reason you say, what if? And the reason, and the if isn't money, I'm in to the tune of anything. Because it'll be weird at worst and great at best.
And there's also the thing that a lot of musicians deal with, where you don't necessarily want to live in the shadow of what you already did. You want to constantly,
But
be
how?
trudging forward and
Let me ask you
treading
something,
new
though.
ground.
Who has done that? When the Rolling Stones and Kiss go and have a concert to this day, do you think they're playing their new material, or are they playing Satisfaction and Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day, respectively?
Well, here's the thing: you got to continually release good material for that to work, and a lot of bands can't make it that long. Like they really can't. Like just the same way as some TV shows need to end.
Mm.
And some of them
bands
it's after
need to,
one season. Sometimes it's after 5 seasons. Sometimes it's after 20. However many
Right.
it might be. But eventually, like, some shows would be better if they were a lot shorter. And some bands I feel the exact same way about.
and art exists in that no man's land where it will exist like solely for as long as it will get attention organically, or when that dies, money like advertising will draw in.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the law of the jungle. No matter how much money you feed a dying cow, it's going to die. You're feeding it money, dumbass. Mm-hmm. If the cow in this metaphor being the piece of art is being cared for properly by people who enjoy and are interested in the cow, it lives a long ass time.
But that's the problem is people aren't interested in one cow long enough.
Well, the cow is Sloth Fist is the cow. Like your cow is Sloth Fist. Like as long as you.
It might even be with Sloth Fist. And, I've been in a lot of bands. And I love this band particularly. It's the first band I've ever, I've been the boss, so to speak.
Yeah.
I've always been at best, second lieutenant. But,
okay, yeah.
But, this is my band that I give, I vote things out a lot. But it's... I love it because of that. I've never had one of my songs turned down.
And that's why I have this show, my man. When you have full creative control, regardless of money, are you, I don't know if you're a fan or not, but maybe you were not familiar with the life story of Kurt Cobain.
And I'm aware that he existed, and I know, he was in a mildly popular band.
Right. So, but the broad strokes of him are he was dedicated to the art. He sacrificed money. He sacrificed his comfort. He sacrificed his life for the sake of his art. And you can hear it in every note and in every guitar chord. But I don't hear a thing when I hear Cher's Believe, except fun pop beats, right?
Yeah.
Because that was made for money.
Yeah, absolutely it was made for money.
I like Nirvana because it's real, and I like Cher because she's fake.
Yeah. Sometimes you want some dumb shit to distract you.
Totally. That's why I love Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I'm a Nick Cage man myself.
I'm on the fence with Nick. He's hit or miss with me, but everybody's got one. Everybody has that thing.
Have you ever seen the hit 1996 film Face Off?
Hell yes, my man. That movie is incredible. John Travolta pretending to be Nick Cage and vice versa will blow your fucking mind if you have not seen that film.
That's my guilty pleasure, man. That's the one that's it's fucking stupid. It is so
Isn't
stupid, but it's amazing.
It is. All the fucking put aside the crazy body type and the hair and everything that would have to go along with this surgery, but all the weird family stuff that happens when Travolta's in Cage and vice versa, and all the drug stuff they've got to do, and and the fucking doves in every room. John Woo spent $14 million in doves alone on that movie.
Oh my God, it's so refreshing to talk to someone who actually knows about this movie.
It's such a great movie. I don't know, I'll get your opinion on this too, but almost as good, if not as good, The Rock.
It's not as good. I like The Rock, but Face Off is just Face Off, and nothing.
Right,
nothing can beat how ridiculous and over the top Face Off.
You know what I think? Let me run this up your flagpole because I think you'll agree. With Travolta and Cage acting insane, that's why that movie's good. Mm-hmm. With Sean Connery sticking with Cage, he adds too much class for it to be entirely fun.
Yeah, I could feel that.
because everybody else is
and
insane.
it's just weird seeing Nick Cage with that much hair too. Like that's just
Right.
real distracting. It's like blowing in the wind.
isn't-
You're like, who the fuck is this
Oh.
guy?
Yeah, and isn't Tony Todd in that movie, right?
I don't know who that
Candyman?
is.
He's the Candyman, right? Well, we don't have to get lost in the reeds. Let's keep talking about Face Off, because like what part of that movie is your favorite? Because I've got two scenes, one for each character.
Okay. So, just to make this somewhat relevant to me being here, Sloth Fist has a song called Face Off.
It's true.
And it's, I think I encapsulate most of my favorite moments. It was hard. I had to leave a couple things out because it's a short song. But one of the lines is, "Oh no, Castor Troy licked my daughter's face."
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that scene, so they just did the shootout in the church. All the
Yeah.
doves fucking going everywhere because John Woo. And then they're like out in the courtyard and the daughter and the mom come. And, you know, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot one of you," because she doesn't know who is who. And then, you know, they grab her I blanked on his name, the bad guy. Castor
Travolta?
Troy. Castor
Yeah,
Troy.
Castor Troy.
It's Travolta at that point.
Yeah.
He just grabbed the daughter and, you know, they're like, who's who? And then he just like licks her face.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
she
my
takes
God.
the little butterfly knife that he gave him and just stabs him right under the dick and twists.
Yes!
Like that's just a culmination of like trash action movie.
Yeah. Like the two scenes. So this is the yin and the yang of that movie. So for the Cage side of things, after the face off has occurred, and oh God, I hope I'm not fucking this up, but when Cage, Travolta as Cage has infiltrated the bad guys and is like not forced, but has to do cocaine to keep up appearances. The improvised monologue that Cage gives about taking Travolta's face off is fucking cinema gold. And then
Nick Cage is good for that. Like that's his shit.
and then he says he has to go to the little boy's wee room.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So there's the Cage of it all. The Cage in the Travolta of it all is when he's like really trying to nail Cage is trying to nail Travolta as Travolta's wife. Jesus Christ. What's her name?
I don't recall.
No, not Uma Thurman. Who's that actress?
I am bad with names in general.
What moral of the story is, it's not like she's insanely hot. So to see Cage in Travolta's body, like getting all horned up over his wife is like, what? And then all the weird stuff with his daughter where he's like, "Oh, what's up with you? You gonna go get finger blasted later?" That was all like,
Well, that was the whole
culminating in
thing,
the
and that was the
fight.
brilliance of that movie.
Yes.
And to John Travolta's credit in that movie, he really nailed playing as Cage when he was
Yes.
Travolta. And that's two just ridiculous actors out crazying each other in the most beautiful way. And that scene, those scenes specifically, like he got into the mind. He's like, haha, this dude's my arch nemesis. I'm living his life now. I'm going to fuck his wife. I'm going to be creepy to his daughter. And like, that was his like crazy way of like rubbing that in as the criminal. Like it's beautifully acted film and people are going to think it's trash, but it's beautiful.
it probably wouldn't even have happened as it is if he had not literally hopped off the plane, his own plane, from the set of Broken Arrow and flown into the set of Face Off and been like, "Okay, what am I doing? Nick Cage? I'm jet lagged and tired. Got it."
Roll with it.
Yeah, and like the boat chase at the end and like the crazy fist fight, it's insane. It's the craziest movie in the world.
It really is. And also, do you remember why did Nick Cage have a mustache for exactly the first 30 seconds of that
I
film?
don't know. Because you think, okay, maybe it's going to come back later. Like he doesn't have the mustache. They don't recognize him at first, and there's a grand reveal later. No, it's just like this awkward thing that, like, probably in real life, Nick Cage showed up to set with, And the director was like, what the fuck? And he's like, I'm keeping it. And so they were like, okay. And as soon as they were done with that scene, Nick Cage was like, you know what? Gonzo.
Just kidding.
Yeah, not into the mustache anymore. Well, fuck, we can't rent the carousel again.
Oh, yeah. And I hope I'm not confusing these movies, but that's the movie also where Nick Cage dresses up as the priest, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
And
the
he grabs
second scene of the movie.
Yeah, when he is still himself.
Yes, and he goes out and he grabs the choir girl's ass and he's like, oh!
Yeah. And let's talk about this. He puts bombs in this building with a 8-day timer on them.
Uh-huh.
What? 8 days?
Yeah, and they didn't make it clear why they needed it to be that long later.
No.
Like there
Why
wasn't
not
like
an hour?
Oh, no, I guess they tried to get money out of the city, and like if we don't have the money in this time, like you're gonna get fucked. I think that might have been part of it.
But okay, I get that. Like I totally get a ransoming the city deal. But why put the timer? Is it for the benefit of any like dumb janitor who wandering through a mechanical room somewhere finds a giant bomb? Like I imagine probably the timers are there for idiots who stumble upon them. Because there's no other reason for them. Like if someone came, because they don't even look like bombs, right?
No, they were
look
just
big
like in
cylinders.
Yeah, no, they were just like big like plastic cases. And like having done some mopping in my days, if I was in a like storage room and there was a crate, I'm not going to be that interested in the crate. I'm going to mop around it and get the fuck on.
Right. So then why the timer and why the 8 days and what the fuck, man? Like don't get me wrong. Everything after the face off like happens, you totally buy because the face off happened and we know that reality isn't real anymore. But everything up until then, I have to question through a lens of some sort of reality.
No. You don't need to do any of that.
I mean, for my own sanity. Because why else would there be 8 goddamn days? And were they going to blow up the priests? All the nuns?
No, it was like a major like office building. Like you can't talk about blowing buildings like that up anymore. But in those days, it was still okay.
Yeah.
But it was just like a big downtown building, is what it was.
Okay, because maybe my memory's a little hazy. Because in my mind, I see all of those religious people, and I think like there was a conference or it was like a big like the convention center here in Phoenix. I don't know why I drew that correlation, but yeah, still weird.
Yeah, but it was a building amongst a bunch of other buildings, and probably it was a blast big enough to like fuck up that whole part of town.
Definitely not good. And then to go from like something as stark and grim as that to like terrorist attack where thousands could die, where like literally in the next 20 minutes there's like a goldfish bowl with a human face just floating in it, sans like string. It's just like there and just looking out, just being like, hey, it's me, John Travolta's face.
Chilling.
Fucking. And then, oh my God. How hard did you laugh when Castor Troy is smoking a cigarette without a face?
I at first, you know what my first thought to that was? After they took his face off, why the fuck didn't they just kill him?
Right?
Like
he is literally nothing but a super terrorist.
They literally cut his face off of his skull. You think he's going to trial?
Yeah, because now what? You say, well, now he's going to trial. And they say, well, Your Honor, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe my face was taken off at some point. I don't know if that's...
Why the fuck wasn't he down in Gitmo? Like...
I know! It's... Yeah, that's the thing. Anything in that movie, it's all a pile of loose thread, and you pull one and the whole house falls apart. But that's the fun of it.
Yeah, you really gotta shut off your smart brain.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to pretend like you're watching a cartoon.
It is, though. You are watching a cartoon.
Yeah, but you have to be like, okay, so reality doesn't apply. Like John Travolta could hit Nick Cage on the head with a cartoon hammer at any moment, or snap him in half like a chopstick, and he'll be fine in the next scene. You just have to accept that and move on.
No, that movie just had a lot of plot armor. You know, like at the end, he scratched up, the face. He's like, haha, I'm gonna die, but like I'm gonna fuck up your face. Yeah. And then he's got his face back, and it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, listen to this. In a world where they have the technology to remove a man's face and put it on another man, what do you think you can do to it to fuck it up?
Yeah.
Tell me.
But, it just, like, ruined... Like, that was, like, almost, like, a weighty thing at the end. Like, that could have been, like, a dark thing.
Yeah.
And, like, he fucked up his face, and then the next scene, he's at home with his wife, and his wife's just, like, broken, and his face looked like a fucking Elephant Man. Like, that would have been a way more impactful ending to me. Like...
Right, so now that we are talking about the ending, though, do you think that was just a delusion?
No, it all happened because, they did the face waterfall, you got his kid back, it's the fucking Hollywood tidy
not that
ending.
Part. No. I'm talking about there's one version where Travolta as himself again washes his face and comes up and it's Nick Cage and he goes, whoa!
Oh, yeah,
So
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's the part I'm talking about. Do you think that was just like a stinger at the end or it was just like, haha, gotcha. Remember, it's still a cartoon.
Yeah,
right?
that was the invitation for a sequel. Is what that was.
It's so crazy. Like, what could you possibly do beyond Face Off?
Did you see someone's talking about trying to remake that movie? I don't know if it's supposed to be a sequel or a remake. Either way, I'm not down with it.
No, me neither. Like, 'cause it's not gonna be good. Like, you can't. It's like when they remade. The Schwarzenegger movie where he goes to Mars. Total Recall.
Yeah, you can't remake that movie.
No, anything from the 80s you cannot remake because it's going to have so many heavy icing layers of sexism, racism, and all the stuff you can't have anymore. And 80s cheese that is ineffable and indefinable that you cannot bring to the future.
And I'm glad that you can't.
Right.
But at the same time, for historical reasons, you need to preserve that it existed.
Right, you need to look at the past so you can see how hilariously backwards it is. When you look at, like, let's say The Predator, for example, a great, nay, perfect action movie, but it's full of, like, homophobia and, like, sexism and racism and just, like, really gross and disgusting shit that, although real, cannot be depicted in the media today.
But that's a reflection of our evolving society, and I like that you can chronicle that as you go through film and media at large, and even like punk rock music. Like there's certain things said in like old Dead Kennedy songs, or this or that or old Descendants songs, even like that you wouldn't use those words anymore. You just
right, and that's the tragedy of what people are doing as opposed to what we should be doing, because when we say words and everybody agrees on those words in context at the time, we all go, great. And then we change those words to something later, and we all go, great, fine, whatever. But the intent is still the same. Just because you don't want to be called a certain number of syllables doesn't mean the intent behind it changes, right?
Well, some of it is like they didn't necessarily know what they were saying. I'll give you a great for instance. The Descendants song, I'm Not a Loser.
Okay.
There's some references to basically homosexuality, but like using it in like a kind of
a derogatory fashion.
That would have offended the person he was saying to, not necessarily because it was a dig at homosexuals, but just because he knew that term would like really upset the person he was saying it to. Because like when you insinuated in the 80s and 90s that someone was a homosexual, like that was just super offensive thing. Like how dare you think I'm that? And like the culture at large, I think, is a little more eyes open these days, where like maybe that's not such a bad thing, and maybe we shouldn't use that in the context of insulting someone.
Right, but here's my thesis. No matter what the keep this as in mind as a reference. The term moron, we call people moron all the time. It was a medical term. Medical people, professionals, made up a term. They said moron. That is a medical term. And we took it and co-opted it, and now it's nothing. Like if a doctor called somebody a moron, you'd go, what? So So the meaning of the word stayed the same. It just got changed to now, retarded became a thing in the 80s, and then it was developmentally disabled, and now I don't know what it is anymore because it changes all the time. And that's the thing. The intent, the object, the thing we are referring to is staying the same. It's just we, over time, find the syllables attached to them repellent for some reason, and we decide to change them.
And that's always going to be the unfortunate fact of life. And we like to think that it's a product of this time, but it's not the product of this time at all. It's the product of the English language.
It's a product of ego. Every generation wants to be called something different, and they say, no, we're not this, we're that. Like the 60s were the flower children. Every decade likes to call itself something. So every time a word, reaches maximum capacity, essentially, everybody goes, I want to be something different because I'm bored with this one. Not in so many words, obviously, because no matter what you call this, that, or the other thing, if you get the intent behind it, like it's easy to find ways to get offended. And like words are a great way to find those means. But if we look at the intent over like the syllables that are producing them, like if someone says fuck you and they're angry, they don't want to actually fuck you, right? Like they're not looking for a night of sweet lovemaking. When someone says, hey, fuck you, and they stick their finger out the window of a moving car, you're not planning a candlelit evening together. But they still said fuck you, like they want to fuck you.
Or, there's fuck is the most ambiguous word in the English language, for one.
Oh, but that's every word. Split hairs.
No, there's science. Like, fuck has more uses than any other word, at least in English. It can be used for... Like, Carlin did a great bit. If you've never listened to George Carlin, please do.
I have.
But, the 7 words where he talks about fuck, and then he even has, another bit where he just, riffs on fuck.
But, okay, but think about this. Like, everybody loves to point to fuck because it is literally a ubiquitous word. Mm-hmm. It is an adjective, a noun, an adverb, yada, yada, yada. Think about it this way. Love, the word love. Mm-hmm. You can say, I love you while you're fucking someone, and it'll be that kind of love. You can say, I love you to a child. Completely different kind of love. You could say, I love you to a friend. Another completely different kind of, I love this drink. I love this camera, right? But we all look to fuck because that's the interesting one. But all the words that we have are like that. They're all homonyms of other things. And we're all just confusing each other by being like, no, don't call me that. Call me this.
Well, there's some of that. And there's some of it where it's just, maybe we don't need to use certain words, as insults. I guess it is the one where I really kind of sympathize with that.
I get you, but
like you brought it up earlier, like retard. That was a medical term.
Yeah.
But then people just started using it to insult,
co-opting it,
just people they didn't like, or people,
exactly.
And so the word itself got that negative connotation, which is why people don't use it anymore.
Right. So let me point this out to you because I can take it down to the root, right? Mm-hmm. So I've got a lot of transgender friends who are always up in arms about pronouns. So, that is the vanguard at which they are pursuing. But here's the thing. If let's say you were born a male and now you're transgender to a female and now you say, I would prefer to be called she and her. Mm-hmm. Now, if I respect you, I will say she and her in that tone of voice. Mm-hmm. But if I do not respect you, the same words that you are now requesting I call you, I can go she and her. Mm-hmm. How does that feel? You know what I mean? It's the same word.
It is, but
it hurts in the second one.
It's tone though. That's
it's intent, not tone. It's intent. I meant to hurt in the second one. I meant to please in the first. So it's not the word. Like, I can call a buddy a retard. I go, I love you, you retard. I'm not literally saying I want to have sex with him and that he is mentally impaired. We are just simply, I'm using impaired language, fractured language, which all languages are, to try and express to someone I have affection for them. But if someone were to walk by and to be like, oh my God, that's a gay man who's in love with someone who's mentally challenged, if they were to take me literally, right?
Yeah, but you see, that's between the homies, right? And I, for one, am not at all against getting that kind of language, like, not just in the mainstream media, not just what you say to people in good company. you know? Like, I like to build myself up on respecting all people.
Right.
As long as they don't give me a reason not to. And if, you know, me choosing to say she instead of he brings someone up and it doesn't bring me down, like, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah. No. Listen, I don't want to come across like I am denigrating the practice. If someone wants to transition to a different gender, I am more than happy to identify them as their preferred gender. I'm just saying that I am not everybody. And then when you are on the vanguard at that thing being like, because someone will not respect you if you demand it of them. Do you get what I mean? Like if you say the people I know, I respect, so I treat them with respect. So I use their pronouns appropriately. But if I'm going to disrespect you regardless, I can still use your chosen words against you. I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying that it's a dicey slope to say I want this pronoun, because when the person who does want to disrespect you says what you are wanting them to say, but not in the tone you want, now where do you stand? You say, well, I won the battle of the word, but now I've got to win the battle of the tone. And if the tone changes, has the mind changes? And when does the battle stop, you know? Why don't we just accept each other as humans?
Here's the way that the way that I see that, and like that's ultimately the goal of all of it, right?
Right.
Is
Yeah,
for
totally.
people to respect each other as humans. But unfortunately, a lot of people at home are taught hate, and a lot of people who do hate because that's just all they've known.
Yeah.
And it's all they've known because that's how the people around them talk. And so it's only natural that the language evolves to kind of go along with the changing majority mindset. And I just like removing those things out of my vocabulary. Even, you know, like I might want to say it to my friend because I've always said it.
Right. But can I ask you something though?
Yeah.
So if you, because we are all at least in agreement as far as language is evolving and words keep being rotated out for newer ones.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're saying, okay, I'm now rotating out everything that society says should be dropped out of common parlance, nature abhors a vacuum. So when a derogatory term flies out, another one will pop into its place. So I'm not saying we can fight that, right? I'm just saying don't make that the hill you die on. Like if yourself should be you, not a pronoun. If you're fighting for a label, fight for you, my friend. Like you are the person that the label is referring to. Don't, like, if someone accidentally misidentifies me as a woman, like if I shave my beard and I still have my long hair and someone says, oh, hello, lady, I wouldn't go, how dare you? It was a mistake. Or if they mean to disrespect me, I would go, you're a dick, and then move on.
Well, I think that's how it is with most people, though. Like, I don't think anyone's trying to necessarily die on that hill. They'll be, you know, they ask to be referred to by what they feel comfortable being referred to.
Right.
And that's absolutely any person's right.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's happening a lot. I'm saying that this is the extreme spectrum that puts off.
But if someone's being a dick,
you can't help it.
I think it's okay to identify that.
Totally.
To know, like, okay, this dude's a dick, so I don't need to listen to what they say too.
Yeah.
And, you know, as the mood changes, more and more people are going to start thinking that that person's a dick.
Yeah, here, I'm on board 100% with calling people out for being a dick, because to call someone out for being a dick, all you have to do is repeat what they just said to you to them, because they're saying a dick thing typically, right? All you have to do is be like, so essentially you want me to go fuck myself, and they'll go, whoa, and then you call them out on it, and then they fuck off.
You know, and I'm all about calling people on their bullshit. It's a, you know, you gotta.
No one needs it.
If wrong is wrong, then wrong is wrong.
Right.
And you know, it's not because society, at least for me, has said that this is okay and this is not. But once again, you know, I mentioned it earlier, I'm a very pragmatic person.
Yes.
And I like bringing other people up. And if bringing other people up doesn't bring me down, then there's no limits to it. You know, if you're not hurting nobody, then do what the fuck you will, man. You know?
Yeah.
I might not understand it. I might not get it. But I don't care. You know, if you're not fucking hurting someone, you're not doing anything that's bringing other people down.
Right. And I think what's going to
do
happen.
whatever the fuck you will.
That attitude is coming about more and more. Because there was some articles and some stuff going on in the media that are basically like rumblings of a new cry against censorship because people and this cancel culture and everybody is now afraid to express themselves because of all these terms that are shifting and shifting and shifting. So I think eventually we're all going to get to the breaking point where we can't literally refer to everyone by name until we know their name. And like, that's just going to be the way it is. Like if you see someone, the rule should be for anyone here, there, anywhere in between is like, until they're a dick to you, we're cool, right? Ta-da.
Yeah, and most people even go back to the gender issue. I know a lot of people, and if I get the pronoun wrong, most of the time they will correct me.
Right.
And I'll be like, "Oh, cool, my bad," because I'm not a dick.
Mistakes happen.
And every time that I've done that, I've been like, "Oops," and start using it correctly to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, all most people want is just like some semblance of an effort to be humane.
Everybody is desperately looking for outside validation. And if they are so in need of it, by hearing just a simple 3-letter word or 2-letter word, depending on your gender in this case, if they need that for that to make them do whatever, why not?
It's such an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a lasting change in their life. So if they say, hey, it's actually a she, I go, okay, great. But here's the thing. Also, like when you talk to someone, how often does gender come up when you're talking to somebody in face to face? Like I talk to my wife all the time. I hardly ever refer to her gender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm building a straw argument for a straw man, and it's all hypothetical. But
it really doesn't. As long, in my experience, if you're cool, people will be cool.
Right, that's it. It's like
and that's how I've gotten along in life.
Like attracts like.
You hope.
Yeah, that's why that's why I'm in this extended long show. So tell you what, Eric, that was not what I thought it was going to be, but it was something. Let's start wrapping it up.
You can't hold me down.
No, I know. That's what I was hoping. That's why you're here. So why don't we start wrapping up with a few staff recommendations? Do you have anything that you would like to recommend to our audience? Aside from the Sloth Fist album, obviously.
Well, clearly,
the
there's
t-shirts.
that. I'm trying to remember what I recommended last time, so I don't... Okay, so this one's going to be real fun.
Okay.
So I recommended Japanese music last time, so I'm going to do it again this time.
Okay.
And good luck finding this band just on me saying the name.
God.
Uchikubi Dokukai Gokuman.
I bet listeners of the show can
Good luck.
Find that.
It's amazing.
So what are we talking about genre-wise?
It's like metal mixed with pop. It's a 3-piece.
Okay.
They got a dude plays guitar and does 80s heavy metal vocals.
Okay.
And then their drummer, she's a gal and she sings as well. But when it transitions to her, it's really poppy.
Okay, yeah, I love those. Every time there's a band that does the mixing of genres just right, it's like a nugget of gold. Because every time, usually see it, it's not great.
And their music videos are also amazing. Even though you will not understand a single word that is being said, you will get the gist.
Unless you're Japanese.
Well, then hopefully you'll get a little bit more out of it.
Okay, yeah.
But they do a really supreme job of showing you in their music videos. And if you just type UCHI, the rest of it will probably come up.
Okay. I'm going through I don't know what kind of phase this is, but looking through different saxophone-based music, I don't know how this happened, but I ended up on the Lemon Demon album Phantom Phone? Shit, I can't. Phantom Phone Booth or something. I don't remember what. God damn it. But I've been listening to that album a lot, even though I obviously didn't remember the name. But the 2 tracks that I love the most are Touchtone Telephone and Cabinet Man, because Cabinet Man in itself is a short horror story. If you like that type of 80s creepshow horror story, and can also stomach something that sounds like Oingo Boingo and every other 80s sort of thing, it's a great track. So I guess that's just about it. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man. It's been a blast.
Hell yeah, man.
So until next week, guys, I'm Dave.
I'm Eric.
And, we'll see you next week, and pick up that Sloth Fist album, and the shirts are reasonably priced as well.
For the try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.